She stabbed herself and like tried to like freaking jump off the second-story building. Not even 5 minutes to like me meeting him, he was like, "Can I ask you something? Like, are you gay?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Oh, I don't have a problem with that. Like, just, you know, you should be who you are and be proud of it. And just as long as you don't try anything on me." And then he started laughing, and I'm like, "Honey, like, have you looked at yourself?" Type of go, 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 like pain meds, Dilaudid, IV push, Q4, and like these people like want it. They're like legit like craving it. Hey guys, I freaking got floated again to Med-Surg. Awful. It's literally so freaking awful. Like, I just can't. More props to the Med-Surg nurses because I couldn't freaking do it. Like, we're only allowed to have 5 patients when we float, and the 5 I had were more than enough. And like, I just don't know how these people do Med-Surg like 3 days a week. Like, I would die. I was like just like miserable the whole time. I felt like I was drowning the whole time, and it was like freaking a mess. Because like when you're on a new floor, you don't know anyone really. It was nice that I got floated on a Saturday because it wasn't so hectic and crazy, but still freaking hectic and crazy, if you can imagine that. Like, I just had a feeling that I was gonna get floated. Like, the last few days, our census in my home unit has been like legit, like the lowest I've ever seen. So I wasn't surprised, but like, I was preparing myself the last few times I've been coming to work. The 2 nurses that I got report from in the morning were like super nice, super chill, and they gave me their patients. And like, the first person that I went to was Baker Act, but it's funny that she was Baker Act and she stabbed herself and like tried to like freaking jump off the second-story building. Quick nursing 101 for all the non-medical and non-nurses watching this video. You may be asking, what is Baker Act? Being Baker Acted means that an individual has shown themselves to be a harm to others or themselves related to extreme behavior that concludes to mental illness and or emotional illness, and thus allows an involuntary institutionalization and examination of that individual. Suicide is a popular reason to become Baker Acted, aka my patient. But like, she was the sweetest, nicest, most grateful person. Like, I loved taking care of her. She had a sitter. She was just like so sweet, and like, I was so happy to take care of her. She was so grateful, and like, oh, she was this cutest old lady. Like, I was so thankful to have her. She wasn't a problem. And sorry about the audio, but it's raining. Then the other person, I had 5, so that was one of the 5. And then another patient I took care of was a problem. He was a confused vet. He was very confused. Like, you would give him his IV Dilaudid, and then like 10 minutes later, "I need a pain pill. I need something for pain." And I'm like, "You just got it." And he's like, "No, I didn't. You're lying, blah, blah, blah." And then 10 minutes after, it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, you know what? You're right, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, it's just like dementia and confusion, like personified. And I just feel like psych patients like should have their own like unit, but it's like Med-Surg gets everything, so that's great for us, especially when you get floated. Another patient I took care of, she was just very, like, you know when you like just like meet someone and you know that they're just very entitled. She was very entitled.
It's too hot in here. I need to change my room.
So before the day was over, I had to get her a new room because it was too hot. She like was, sorry, it's like raining. Another thing she complained about,
I get this medication for my headache. I need Miralax. Like, can you tell the doctor?
I'm like, okay, yes. So I had to freaking call the doctor. Like, I'm pretty sure she didn't want to hear me at Saturday morning calling about that crap, but got it done. Another thing.
Oh, can you like ask if we can get a shower? Because like, I really need a shower.
Got a shower. Thank you for my freaking text. I will say that the tech that I've been working with on Med-Surg, I had her the last 2 times. She's freaking awesome. And let me tell you that when you have a great tech working with you, it makes the day so much easier. So props to that freaking tech. She's in nursing school. She's gonna be a fucking awesome nurse, by the way. And she is just like slaying. Like, I will say that the techs here are freaking awesome. For the most part, they're just like awesome. So thank you, girl. You know who you are. Yeah, she was just too much. Like this, like patient, she was just very entitled. And her husband was like,
"Oh, is that a Rolex?"
And I was like, yes. And he was like,
"Oh, I have one too. Like, this is a..."
But like, he was saying that like it was his grandma's or his mom's or something, and like he was saying that they were gonna like send it to Goodwill, but he took it and blah blah blah. I'm like, I really don't want to talk about watches right now. I'm like freaking drowning. The last thing I want to talk about is the watch I'm wearing. I will say that the husband was like super nice and like super thankful. When he left, he was like,
"Thanks for taking great care of her, you know, keep her healthy, blah blah blah, let's get her out of her."
He was like, I would have rather taken care of him. Like, he was so nice. But the wife, like, she was just very like uppity and very just like entitled. It's almost like she's one of those people who thinks that like, oh, you're my nurse and like you might have other patients, but I'm your first priority. Another patient I had was this older lady, and she was so sweet. Like, she was so thankful for everything, and she wasn't a problem. I was so happy to have her. And then the last patient I had, he was interesting. He was very nice, though, like super thankful. He was like, you know, you've taken such great care of me. Thank you so much, George. Blah blah blah. But like, not even 5 minutes to like me meeting him, he was like, "Can I ask you something? Like, are you gay?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Oh, I don't have a problem with that. Like, just, you know, you should be who you are and be proud of it. And just as long as you don't try anything on me." And then he started laughing, and I'm like, "Honey, like, have you looked at yourself?" Like, I hate when straight people are like, "Don't try to do anything to me." I'm like, have you looked in the mirror? Like, I don't want to do anything with you. But he was really nice. It was just like, that was just kind of a weird like interaction. But we bonded with golf because he like worked in the golf industry, and he was like telling me like all these like golfers who were like assholes or pricks, as he was saying. Not that I didn't know that already, but it was nice to like have something in common. And he was a very talkative person. When the therapist was in there, he was like, he said something weird, like his penis was small, like if you're trying to look down there, like you're not gonna find much. And I was like, okay. And TMI. And the therapist that I have working with this guy, like, she's awesome. Like, I work with her on my home unit, and she was like, yeah, no. And she just like put him like on blast. Like, she didn't put him on blast, but she was like,
yeah, no, don't worry, you have nothing. Yeah, that's not on, your penis is not on my bucket list,
is what she said. And I was like, dead. I love her. Another thing with that one guy who asked me if I was gay, it was just really stressful because it's like in the morning the neurosurgeon came to round, and I'm like, he was like asking me all these questions. His PA was super chill, but like he was asking me all these questions, and I was like, I couldn't find all the answers, and I was like starting to like sweat a little bit. But like, they went to go see the patient, and it's fine. But like, I just hate being put on the spot and not knowing where everything is. Like, the issue with this patient was that he was rotating fluid, so it's like, you know, like we had to bladder scan him Q4, and like if he had like more than 400 straight cath him, and at lunch like I had to straight cath him because he wasn't peeing on his own, and I got like 600 out of him, even though the bladder scan said 500. Never trust the bladder scan, guys, because those things are ballpark ranges. Like, I usually always get more, so it was just stressful. And you know, I felt bad for him, but he was super nice. He comes from like a conservative like religion, and he was saying like, I think it was like his sister was upset because her daughter turned out to be a lesbian, and like he was like, oh, we just told her like, you know, like this isn't her life, like she needs to like live her life, and you know, you should be happy for her, and blah blah blah, and now they have a great relationship. I'm like, oh god. And then he said something about like he has a friend in New York who like has to tell everyone he's gay, and he's just super out, and like he was asking me like, why do some gay people are like that?
I'm here like I'm a little boy. What did you ever think it'd be okay for me to step into this world? I always say I'm
like, just straight people can be like so like, oh god, like okay, like why are we making such a big deal about like people's sexuality? Like he was like, as long as you're not a Republican, it's fine, haha. And I was like, okay, great.
Tyler, I cannot see Carly wearing it anywhere, honestly.
Not even to dinner with the Kushners.
He was just a lot, but I'd rather have someone who's a lot but nice than like someone who's a lot but like entitled. Does that make sense? Hey guys, it's Editing George here. Just a little bit more backstory about this guy. He has no filter, and it's very problematic because like he's a sensitive person already, but like I think he's just projecting his own insecurities to other people. And one of my coworkers, she's not like a real thin girl, she's giving us a little more body, she's a little more thick, honey. And he asked her, he was like, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but have you ever thought about losing weight? And I'm like, if I was her, I would have said something, but she's like a strong girl and she didn't, but that's just not okay. So, like, I just can't deal with like people who like think that nurses are like their slaves, and I feel like that is where nursing is right now, especially in Med-Surg. Like, well, really any unit, but like Med-Surg, you get everything, and it's just like the constant like my coffee is not like hot enough, like you need to do this and this, and it's like how you talk to people, you know, like it shows a lot like where you come from, like how you talk to people and how you treat people. It's like nurses, we're not trying to like, we just want you to get better, but like it doesn't hurt to like be nice to us too, you know, like we just take it on the chin every single time, but you know, some people will have their breaking point, and it's not fair. There are moments where you just feel so small in the world, and whenever I get floated to Med-Surg, I just feel like the smallest person. And like, I just feel like just so like inadequate as a nurse. And like people say, George, you're such an awesome nurse, you're a great nurse, like you've been nominated for the Daisy Award so many times, you won it, blah blah blah, but I just feel like I'll never be good enough, if that makes sense. And like that's a sucky feeling, like going into like a unit like Med-Surg, but I really like gave it my all. Like the last time I was on Med-Surg, I didn't take a break. I didn't take a break today. Like I scarfed down my lunch in like 10 minutes. Like I really like felt like the water was like up to here with me, and I was like trying not to drown. Another thing with me is like I'm a super like independent like person. Like I like to do things on my own. Like if I don't need help, I'm not gonna ask for help. I'll only ask help like if I 100% need it. And it's like floating, like I have to ask for help because like this isn't my home unit. Like I don't know where anything is. Like I don't know who the doctors, like what they look like, and it's like we're dealing with people's lives, so it's like you have to ask for help, you know. People are sue happy, and lawsuits get thrown around every time, everywhere in healthcare, and you know, nurses getting depositions like is a real thing. So it's like I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's just like I hate the feeling of being like an annoyance to someone. Tomorrow I'm gonna go shadow a wound care nurse, so we'll see how that goes again. Okay, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.